3, 2, 1, go!
Hey there, my name's Taylor, and this is the DFW Summer Series Race 4. This is actually my second race of the season, and if you watched the last video, you'll notice I'm at the front this time. I decided to try to get to the front of the pack at the hole shot, and this guy in front of me, this is Jeremy. He beat me last race, so I thought I'd try to keep up with him, and that strategy worked for me here in the hole shot, but you can see I'm already leaving like a gap of maybe 1 or 2 bike lengths, and it's not getting any shorter. So Jeremy is a fast guy, and I could not keep up with him here. But I was happy to be in second place. And this week on the race, we're going in the opposite direction. So normally we go, I think, clockwise, which is like the normal way that the trail goes when the race isn't going on. But this week, and like every other week, that alternates. So this time we're going counterclockwise, and this was my first time doing the course in this direction. So that was new for me. My brother and I got out before the race to pre-ride it, so it's not like my actual first time going around the course this way, but I definitely am less used to this direction than the other way. And yeah, so my strategy coming into this was I want to try to stay as close as possible to Jeremy. I think last week he beat me by somewhere between 30 minutes or a minute and a half, somewhere around there. So that's a pretty significant gap. I didn't really expect to be able to stay on him for the whole race, but he really gets away from me quickly here. You can see that already he's putting more and more time into me. But also what you can't see is that there's not really anybody right on my tail either. So I'm going to end up with a pretty comfortable gap in front of me and behind me for basically the whole race. You know, I end up not really seeing anybody for most of the time, which unfortunately doesn't make for very good footage, but I was pretty happy with the outcome of starting in second place basically and staying in second place for the entire race. You'll notice I took that corner super wide. A really strange thing happened when my brother and I were doing the pre-ride. You know, we were riding pretty slow and just talking about all of the features and how to get through them and really focusing on taking all the corners well. And then as soon as I get into the race, you know, I'm got all amped up. I'm pushing super hard, and then as we go around these corners, I take them so badly, like worse than I was just dinking around the trail. And it's not because I'm really going that much faster or anything, it's just that I'm like totally tunnel visioned into pushing super hard and not thinking about where I need to be and where my bike needs to be. So that's something I need to work on in future weeks, is really focusing on like doing the corners well, because that's part of the reason why Jeremy is able to get away from me so easily here, is that like it doesn't look like much, but you know, half a second or a second on each one of these corners adds up, because there's, I mean, I haven't counted them, but probably at least 100 corners going through this thing. And yeah, that, you know, that's a huge amount of time. So you can see over there on the left, there's the rest of the field. This is the beginner race, which is only 2 laps, and I'm not sure how many riders we had this week. I think it was in the 20 to 30 range. But yeah, lots of riders back there, and you know, I definitely, like I mentioned, didn't have anyone right on my tail, but I knew that if I really was slacking off, somebody would pass me. So I wanted to get back on the podium this week, and so that motivated me to keep pushing. As I mentioned, this course is the opposite direction as the normal way, and I actually felt like this was an easier course overall. This is one of the few like uphill sections right here, but I think that my feeling was that like the whole course felt like it was downhill, which obviously doesn't make sense. I mean, it's a circuit, so it's going to be flat overall, but like there's these downhill sections that we're in right now, and then the uphill sections are kind of pretty gradual and easy. So that was nice for me. It felt like I didn't have to expend quite as much like, you know, pedaling cardio effort as the other direction. However, it was really clear on these technical like single track sections that they're kind of designed to go the other way. Really feels like you're going against the stream on this part. And you know, it makes for a fun challenge to be sure, but it just, you know, it does feel a little unnatural, for lack of a better term. It's still really neat to like see the course from a different vantage point, and I really like that they switch directions to keep things interesting week to week. So, you know, I'm not complaining, but just remarking that like it's really interesting to ride a trail the opposite direction that you're quote unquote supposed to. There were these people on the trail, just like walkers, I guess, hikers, and I'm not sure if it's like explicitly disallowed, but it's definitely strange to see people that aren't part of the race on the course. And you'd think that if you were like out walking around and you saw 30 mountain bikers go past you, you'd be like, oh, maybe something's happening on this trail, maybe we should go somewhere else. But yeah, I don't really know. And they didn't get in the way or anything. I was just curious to see them hanging out there by the side of the trail. I think I see them again on the next lap too, somewhere else. So you can just barely see Jeremy up ahead thanks to some of this switchback here. So I saw him there and I figured, okay, well, he's basically gone. I know that he's a stronger rider than me, so I'm not doing a good job keeping up with him. But again, thanks to the switchback, I can also tell that there's nobody right behind me. So I'm trying to like settle in and keep myself in threshold level effort for the bulk of this race. My max heart rate's around like 180. I'm at about 160 right now. So really I'd want to be at about 170. But it's challenging for me still to like push myself that hard on these technical sections. Like I'm so uncomfortable here that I'm spending most of my time thinking about my positioning and my line and all this stuff that it's really hard to also be putting in a huge effort through my legs. And obviously that's something I need to improve on, but you know, I'm pretty happy being at 160 BPM. That's a really solid effort for me. All right, and as we come out of that technical section into one of these open infield sections, this is an opportunity for me to just heads down and pedal hard for a little while. So you can see my heart rate jumps up almost immediately to about 170 because I don't have to think as much about the bike handling. I can just pedal. While we're kind of rolling through this section, I haven't talked about my bike. So my brother convinced me to buy a mountain bike earlier this year, and he had remarked that he wished he had like a XC bike. And my current bike was a Canyon, and I liked it well enough. I figured I'll go ahead and get another Canyon. This is the Trail CF Lux, I think. Anyway, really like this bike. I haven't had a mountain bike in maybe more than a decade, but this is full suspension and relatively lightweight. I remember when I first took it out of the box, like all the tubing and everything looks so intense and huge, but then it's all carbon fiber, so it doesn't weigh that much. And yeah, it's got tons of nice features. It has like lockout on the handlebars for both the front and rear suspension. So during the hole shot, which is on the pavement, I lock the suspension out so that I can get, you know, every little bit of power out of the bike. And then as soon as we switch onto the grass, I pop the lockout so I get the suspension going again. Also has a dropper post, which I don't actually end up using, I think, ever during the race, but it's really nice just for, in general, using it. Most of my riding, I don't drop the post, but every now and then it's really nice to be able to put that down and, you know, do some fancier stuff. It's got a 1x drivetrain. I think it's got 10 or 12 gears in the back, I'm not sure. Bunch of gears. I haven't, or I've been super happy with, you know, the range of gears offered on it. And yeah, really no complaints at all. And I think it's a nice looking bike too. So yeah, really happy to have it. And I think the lightweight is a nice benefit on this course in particular, because there's, you know, a fair amount of up and down every lap. I'm coming up on another rider here, but I think he's in a different group than me. He's not in the beginner category. Could be that he's intermediate, or he's like single speed or e-bike or something like that. I suspect intermediate, and they do another lap compared to the beginner field, so you know there's a little bit more endurance involved there. But yeah, he was super nice, and it's inevitable, you know, that with so many races going on at the same time, some people are going to overlap from different heats. And yeah, this trail has lots of good spots for passing, so it's not that big of a deal. Coming into the start finish here, take an opportunity to grab a drink, and I think I'm still in second place. I hadn't done a like race pace lap in this direction before, but in the other direction, I think my PR for a lap was around 14 minutes, and this was a little under that, so that felt pretty good. You know, I'm assuming that was a good time, and yeah, it just felt good to like beat my PR from the other direction. And like I mentioned, I found this direction to be easier, so maybe not surprising I went a little quicker. Also, I wanted to remark on my camera setup here. So I have a GoPro, I think it's a Hero or like Black 12 Mini something, and it's chest mounted, which is a little unfortunate because it's so hot outside. Like wearing anything extra on my body feels stifling practically, but I think it's really nice to get this footage where you can see my handlebars and my arms to like get, or for me at least, it's really useful to be able to analyze how I'm going through these corners. I'm gonna try with a chin. I wear a full face helmet because I'm terrified of busting up my teeth, but I'm gonna try with a chin mounted camera next week to see what that looks like, but I might stick with the chest mount so that I can really figure out what's going on and try to get better at going through these corners by analyzing my own performance in these races. Oh man, terrible corner there. Way overshot it. Nobody around, not even like redlining or anything like that. Just really chugging at this point in the race and overshoot that corner, do worse than I've ever done in any training, but oh well. I almost crashed there. I'm not sure what I was thinking, but cut that really close through those tree gaps. I've heard that some people like to cut their bars down, and I haven't done that. I don't know how wide my bars are, but I don't think it's actually close getting through there because it's more of like a back and forth rather than just super close on each side. But for some reason, going in this direction, I nearly whacked my handlebars on one of those trees. Fortunately, I kept it upright, but a little dicey. There's those hikers on the trail again, and this time I do get around this rider, so he slowed me down for a second there, but got around him. Alright, coming into the start finish here. This is the end of the race for me, and finished in second place behind Jeremy. Felt pretty good about having consistent lap times from 1 to 2, and really enjoyed racing this week, and thanks for watching. Hope to see y'all next week.